What's up, guys? DroneBee here, and welcome to DroneBee Daily number 3, number 4, 3 or 4 in there somewhere. Apparently, I can't count above 2. So, this is a war game, guys. Final Fantasy is a war game. So I thought I would talk a lot about war strategy, the dark arts. Let's get into the dark arts, guys. There's tons of different. Well, let me start off with this. One of my favorite things about this game, guys, is you are stuck in your realm. You have to live with the same people in this realm for the entirety of your account, except for maybe an hour here and there for RVR teleports. But you're stuck with the people you're around, so that has like really cool implications. Like if you're just going rogue all the time and backstabbing people, you're going to get labeled. Like, people are going to know who you are, and nobody's going to want to play with you, and they're going to want to, zero you. So how you carry yourself in the game matters, and it's one of the reasons I don't attack a lot of people. Is I'm not afraid of being attacked personally, because my account's strong enough that they really can't zero me, but they'll come after my friends if I start attacking people. So you have to be careful, how you play, how aggressive you are. There's a trade-off, and it can get a little mafia style. You take out one of their members, they teleport in, hit you back. So I like to usually what I do is I only attack in sort of a retaliation, or kind of attack as like a means of leverage almost. Like, hey, you're going to attack my friends, I'll attack your friends until you leave. So that's usually how my style. Just, I don't know, it feels like a little bit more ethical than, but this is a war game, and you have the right to practice the dark arts, and you can go in and zero whoever you want. You might have to pay the price, but that's fine. You can practice the dark arts. So let's get into attacks. The first thing I recommend before attacking is make sure your hero has its battle gear on. And for me, for attacking, I like a combination of Sentinel and Arbiter, just because the defense is going to help your troops out a lot if you get the armor. Like the Sentinel, it has a lot of armor, and that'll help your troops survive. But if you're not level 40 for the Arbiter, no problem. Real quick, I can show you guys what gear I'd recommend. Of course, it all mostly comes down to your level. If you're not just as below 30, there's different gears you're probably going to want to stick with. But first thing I'd say, even the gray Arbiter is better than a lot of the other, like that compared to, let's say, the Dragon Helm. Like you'd be better off probably with a gray or white Arbiter than you would with a purple Dragon Helm. So if your hero's above 40, just go ahead and craft really basic Arbiter gear. And if you're same with if your hero is above 30 but not to 40, the basic Sentinel gear is better than decent Dragon Helm gear. So there's that. But if you're not 30, don't worry, you can still attack people. At 24, this Dragon Helm is pretty good comparatively. Yeah, that's really the only hat. It's like, you can use the Hunter Gaze, actually. It has a decent amount of armor. If you get, and you can get all these. You can get blue stones, you can get glass, and Saigan scales. Not sure how to pronounce it, but you can get all that by farming monster layers. It might be slow. The blue stones and the Sahagan something. Those scales are a little bit harder to come by than the bronze and glass, but you can do it. I've gotten I haven't bought a single hunter material yet, and I've got almost almost all legendary hunter gear just by grinding out layers. So you can use that gear. Body armor, I recommend the again, you can use the hunters if you're below 30, but the carabiner is pretty good, and you can get that at 25. So it might take some grinding as a free-to-play to get to 25, but it's probably doable. And even the tunic, you're better off just crafting something if you don't have anything. Like just craft the best you can. You might want to consider weighing some of your higher quality material until you get to legendary or purple. And another thing is, I see a lot of people attack without accessories. And even like crafting, I like the at level 30 you can get the Sentinel Agus. I'm terrible at pronouncing, guys. Sorry, I've never even heard somebody else pronounce a lot of these, so I have no idea. But good troop armor with the Aggies. And below that, the Genji gloves. They're not great, but it's something. You get 2 of those or 3 of those, depending on at Armory level 20, you get your 3rd accessory. So if you have 2 of these, and then once you hit Armory 20, you can craft a 3rd. And that'll get you by until you can get the Sentinel. And of course, the Arbiter, what I recommend, the Talesman's nice because it has both troop HP and attack. But the Arbiter call is pretty good too. So the Talesman, the call, the march speed's nice, and you get quite a bit more attack with the call. So I wouldn't fault people for going with that over the Talesman, or the Talisman. But I like this. I usually craft these because I'm pretty conservative with my troops, and I'd rather not sacrifice even 10 more troops than I have to, because 10 every day or 10 1,000 times in a day, that adds up. Weapons. One thing that I recommend is if you specialize in a particular troop type, it will come in handy in the long run, because you can gear your hero skills towards a particular weapon, or you can also craft a particular weapon. So like if you're below 30, I think you can get this hard hedge at 20. So you can get your Noctis to 20 as a free to play for sure, and that'll give you a 51% warrior attack. So if you're attacking all with warriors, that's pretty significant. And if you're doing a rally with all warriors, like, that's decent. You're better off with that than probably for sure the Sentinel weapon, right? Because you just get 70% troop armor. So of course so even if you're attacking with only warriors, you would need the blue Arbiter Judgment to be equivalent. So that's not bad, guys. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad crafting one of these, and you can get all this as free to play also. So yeah, 47% cavalry attack. Here's a mage one if you want to go with mages. Even the broadsword, like these materials are easy to get as a free to play. So you can craft a legendary, probably within a month of grinding, like, for sure. So, and that's 20% troop attack, and that'll apply to everything. So if you wanna go, kind of a mixed attacking style, that'll get you by until you can craft an arbiter, or yeah. There's that. So make sure you get, first things first, make sure you get your hero geared. The second thing, if you're going to attack, is just go ahead and check your items and your war, and hopefully you have a 20% attack bonus or a HP bonus. I think I've got even some 50s in here, and a march size increase. So kind of weigh your options. Who you're attacking will depend on whether or not you want to use it or not. You might want to save it. As far as attacking, guys, so at that point you're ready to attack. And recall your marches, because if you don't want to teleport and then leave a march behind and have it a couple-hour march to get back to you. So I've done that. I used a realm teleport one time. I did that. I had all my marches out. So yeah, really just spend 5 minutes and just make sure everything's ready and you're ready to attack, because nothing's worse than going in and leaving troops behind. So who do you attack? These are good questions. There's a saying, don't defecate where you eat, or don't defecate where you sleep. So I don't recommend attacking strong people nearby, like without teleporting, because then things can turn to chaos real quick. Like your friends might be rallied while you're sleeping. Like things just can decay into chaos, really deteriorate into chaos quick. So I'd recommend saving up loyalty for teleports, and you just need 300k loyalty. So to teleport in, take a bunch of people out, teleport back. That's what I recommend, because then you don't have to worry about your tiles getting hit. You don't have to anger the people near you, because you're stuck with them unless you want to I guess change locations, which maybe you'd want to do that. So that's my 50 cents. Weigh your options. Maybe you don't want to use loyalty. Maybe you just want to, work your dark arts and hit the people near you. That's cool too. Yeah, so if you're doing a teleport attack, guys, one thing that I like to do, personally, the goal obviously is to be able to attack as many people as quickly as possible. So like would be a great hive. You could just teleport right here. And one thing I do, guys, this is DroneBee Dark Arts at its finest. If I see a hive with a hole like this, I'll make a new account and I'll teleport it in here, and they won't know whose empire that is. They'll just see an empire there all of a sudden, and I'll just keep it there as a placeholder. And then you can random teleport it out whenever you do want to go in. So that's a little trick I've learned, and the big guilds hate when you do this. Like, they hate having a hole in the middle of their hive just plugged up by some random empire. So usually when I log on, I'll go around and check out different hives, and a lot of times a bigger player will teleport out, maybe to the crystal or something, and that's when you can steal their spot. And that empire will stay there, guys. Like, as long as you do a little maintenance to it every once in a while, it's there. And you get a random teleport at level 6, so you do have to level it up some before you can get it out of there. But the dark arts, guys, don't feel bad if you have like a bunch of these, because they're great for leverage too. Like one time my guild was under attack, and I had an empire there, and I told the guild, I'm like, hey, I can teleport in and burn you guys, but if you stop attacking my guildmates now, I will random teleport it out of there so you can have your spot back. And so some leverage with that. But as far as attacking goes, I usually do scout first, just to make sure they don't have any sometimes the mercenary troops they don't have much power for how strong they are. So I like to scout first, and if they have anti-scout on, you're better off just sending a full march at them, like if you think you can take them. Now, depending on where you are, you might not want to send a march because it might just get eaten completely. One rule of thumb that I used to use is if they have more than a fifth your power, it's probably not going to be easy to take them out. So like for me, I'm at 45 million in this account. I probably shouldn't be attacking people above 9 million solo. and even then it can be sketchy. But that's just a rule of thumb. If you're now you can beat people if they have the same power as you, like depending on the hero level and how their power's distributed. So you know, one thing you could do, like this guy, he's at 4.2 million, and you can check his hero level to kind of gauge. Okay, so his hero's at 36. You know, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how much power a 36 hero has. Maybe a million. So that means, you know, he could have 3 million power worth of troops. And yeah, but also this guy, if you look at his hero, it's not geared, right? He's got really 2 defensive troop, you know, troop buff items. So this would be a good candidate to take out because his hero's not helping his troops out a whole lot. So his troops are vulnerable. Let's see, this guy, 2.5 million. Yeah, here's another guy. Like now he's got a good weapon, but it's going to buff his warriors. So I look at this and I'd say, okay, this is a candidate for doing a mage. You know, just go ahead and hit him with a mage march and see how it goes. And I would recommend not using your hero for your first attack if you're unsure how it's going to go, because you don't want to get your hero capped and then have to sacrifice troops to try to get them back. I think we've all been there. We've all underestimated somebody, but you know, you could do worse than just sending a march without your hero and see if any of the troops survive. And if they survive, that's the point that I start including my hero, because if your troops survive without your hero, they'll definitely survive with your hero, because your hero, you get all the boosts. Your hero boost will apply to the troops with your hero. So like my gear, it's a 230% attack. I've got 100% cavalry, so I'm kind of geared for cavalry. Troop armor is just under 500. Troop HP is 180. Yeah, so that's a lot of buff to apply. Like, so the troops with my hero will do way better. So what I usually do, like let's say I was going to hit this hive. Let's say I want to attack somebody strong. Let's say so this guy's at 11 million, right? So he's like right at the edge. Like maybe I can take him. What I would do, mark his power. Like this is if you're willing to sacrifice some troops, guys. Make sure you have a lot of troops if you're going to be doing this kind of attack. So this guy's got 11.6 million. Now I would record his power, write it down quick. I'll send a full march at him without my hero, and I'll see how much his power goes down. Now, for me, a full T4 march, I want to say it's like 250k power, around there. So I might lose 250k power each hit on him, and I will look and see how much power he loses. And if he loses anywhere from like 100 to 200,000, so about a third of my troop power, then I will attack him with my hero. But if not, there's a good chance he'll cap my hero. So that's kind of what I look at. You want to do at least a third of the power. So you want to deal at least you know, a third as much damage as you lose before you send your hero. That's a rule of thumb. Yeah, that's a rule of thumb, of course. And you got to keep an eye on his power, because if he's online, he might be healing his troops, he might be building more, and if he's building more, he could potentially build enough that you lose your hero. I've seen that happen. Yeah, the Dark Arts guys. As far as combat research goes, I would recommend getting the troop HP as high and the troop attack as high as your Citadel is. Like that should be a priority probably before you even start attacking people. I would try to get these two as high as your university level will allow. And these as well, I'd try to max these. You know, at least max them for your Citadel. For me, you know, 10 is the max for a lot of them. Come down here, and these as well, the Troop HP 2 and Troop Attack 2, those help tons. Like, look at this. This is a 100% bonus at level 10. So that's pretty significant, right? Like, that's not bad. The other one is, the other troop buffs for attacking is on your hero after you get Monster Tactics 4, and these are pretty good too. The troop HP, 11% at 31 University, and 12% for attack. So every little bit helps, guys. And also, I mentioned this in a previous video, but the buildings that are inside your wall here, the banks, the wards, and the barracks, these will buff your troops. So I'd recommend leveling them as much as you can. You know, it's a trade-off. You don't want to use too much of your speed ups and resources on it, but you do want to get them up some, right? Like, the higher they are, the better the buff you're going to get. I think right now I can view the building bonuses here. My barracks apply almost, you know, 57%, so that's pretty good attack bonus, and 4% HP. Every little bit helps, guys. So when you're attacking, what determines if you're victorious or not? So what if you're given the victory? It's just based on troop loss. So a lot of times, and this is kind of interesting because a lot of times I will lose more power, but I'll win the battle because I lose less troops. And what this means is, if you see a guy with a lot of level 1 troops, there's a good chance you can win as long as he doesn't eat your entire march. So, because the T1 troops die so much easier than T2, and T2 dies so much easier than T3, and T3 dies so much easier than T4. A lot of times, you know, you can look, and if you see they have a lot of low-level troops or low-level walls, it might be worth just attacking because you'll get an easy victory. Now, the victories don't necessarily mean all that much. I mean, you get some resources, or maybe you get some items attained, which is probably the main reason you'd want to attack people, is, you know, assert your dominance, I guess. Maybe you just want to show them what's up, or really the long-term reason to attack people is you get some items, right? Like, not always. Sometimes you don't. A lot of times you don't, but you can get gems that way. And there's not a lot of ways to get gems as free to play. I mean, you can do the quests. Maybe you get some if you get lucky in the proving grounds, but really the way to get gems is to attack people. And it's slow. It's a slow process. But in order to be victorious, get the resources, get the gems, you need to lose less troops. And yeah, so that has interesting implications more for like crystal battles, and if you want to knock people off the crystal, and for rallies, right? Like, a lot of times when you do like a whole guild rally, somebody will send T1 troops, and it's always painful to see it because it's like, oh no, we might deal way more damage than the other person in terms of power, but we could easily lose this rally because these T1 forces are just going to evaporate. So it's like free kills, and that's frustrating. And I see that on the crystal too. The only reason I was able to take this realm's crystal is because they had a guy with T3 troops in it, and those T3 troops just evaporated under my mercenary troops, even though I was heavily outnumbered. I had I used a 50% march boost, so I had 55,000 marches, 55,500 maybe. There was 290,000 troops in the crystal, of which there was like over 100,000 T4. There was Ma X. There was 100,000 samurai. I mean, and it had at the time, I'll show you the hero that was in it too. this guy's hero was in it when I beat him, when I soloed it. So there's not only 6 times more troops in the crystal, the majority of the troops are better. And his hero is level 74 with full, look at that, full arbiter gear. And I was able to solo it with a hero 20 levels below his, actually 15. And I have purple gear. And the only reason I was able to is because some other guy reinforced with T3. And the T3, I lost way more power than them, but the T3, because they evaporate so easily compared to mercenary troops, I won the crystal. And I've yet to give it up because they keep trying to rally me with T3 in their marches. And the T3, even though they're winning in terms of power, they're losing in terms of troop loss because of the T3. I don't want to tell him that. I don't want to message him and say, hey, just attack me with the T4 and the mercs and you'll win. Luckily they gave up, and this guy went and captured another Realms crystal. So yeah, so it has interesting implications, the different troop levels. And one thing you can do is you can use this to your advantage in some level, at some level, like yeah, so if you're attacking people, one thing people do is they will send a amount of lower level troops as a meat shield. And as long as you're confident that you'll kill more than them, so like for instance, let's go back to our friends here. This guy, in all likelihood, has T3. Now, I can send T3 with my T4, and the T3 will act as a meat shield, because before the first T4 troop dies, all the T3 troops will die. And the same goes, before the first T2 troop dies, all the T1 troops will die. So you can send a clump of troops below, like, at a lower tier troop to absorb all the damage. And a lot of times we'll do this in rallies, because if we're doing a big rally on an empire where we think we're going to lose a lot of troops, we will send some lower tier. Now it'll be more likely to cause us to lose the rally, just because they're going to, the troop loss is going to be so high for the lower tier troops. But it will protect. So like if we do a rally with a bunch of T3 troops, we might want somebody to send T2 just to eat a lot of the damage, to save the losses to the T3 troops. So you can do that. I do that sometimes to protect my T4 troops. I'll send in T3 with it, and they will, all the T3 that I send will die before the T4. So they kind of absorb a lot of the damage. I wish I could show you guys right now, but all my marches are at the crystal. Yeah, so that's the Dark Arts, guys, and I'm gonna make a Realm vs. Realm video for you guys soon too. I captured a crystal, and it's been fun. It's been I've got literally 985 battle reports since I've taken the crystal. 985. Like, they're just sending little bits by little bits. And now, a rule of thumb, guys, in the RVRs, don't capture another Realms crystal unless you're prepared for the long trip back. Not only if you have a crystal occupied, you not only can't teleport, you get a hero leading a rally error. So like right now, I can't participate in this RVR anymore. Like, I'm done until they knock me out of the crystal, because I can't teleport, even though I've got tons of teleports, which is super frustrating. And then in this RVR ends, let's see, it ends in 2.5 hours. So my troops are going to have to walk all the way back from this crystal. It's so frustrating. So I'm going to have to use like every single march speed up I have to get these back, because I think it's like a 10-day trip depending on where the realm is. So a 10-day for each of these. if I use 100 speed ups, it's still going to be, oh man, it's going to be a long time, long trip back. For fun, I recorded that. I might just go ahead and throw it at the end of this for fun, so you guys can see what how it all went down, because it was pretty funny. All right, dudes, peace out.